little bit nervous before your game, a little bit, not to freak yourself out, but if you get a little bit nervous before your game, that's good, right? Do you think it's because it's a signal that your body is on and ready? Yeah, so that's a good thing. And it allows you to get up for your game, put the energy into your game. How many of you, before you start a game, especially big games that mean a lot, how many of you feel really, really nervous? Yeah. How many of you almost feel sick sometimes? Yeah, totally get it. And you're not alone. There's a lot of athletes that go through that. There's a lot of athletes that throw up before big performances and stuff like that. And yeah, well, and I'm not saying that's good. I mean, that's hard on them for sure. But it's a normal thing. That's all I'm trying to say. Is no matter how you feel about that, it's absolutely normal. But you don't have to feel like that. It's all a matter of how you talk to yourself before the game. So when you say to yourself, okay, I'm feeling a little bit excited, my heart rate's what, sometimes you can feel your heart pounding in your chest, right? You go, this heart rate, this is okay, it's good, it's telling me my body's on. But you can also say to yourself, I'm only going to be excited about my game because I'm ready. I'm only going to be excited about my game because I'm ready. I'm only going to be excited about my game because I'm ready. There's a reason I'm saying this. I haven't lost something. When you choose to be excited about your game, as opposed to nervous and scared and silly, it's a choice of how to think. When you're scared and you're nervous, you're telling yourself, this is bad. You really are. That's your belief system. When you get really, really scared, you're also feeling bad. And probably the thoughts, not probably, I don't know, maybe the thoughts that are going through your head are, what if I screw up? That's a big one, right? I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't want to let my team down. I don't want to let my coach down. I don't want to let my parents down. I don't want to be embarrassed. Right? That's where these feelings come from. Performance fears. And everybody has them. When you stop thinking about that, when you feel yourself go into that state, how many of you can let's do that right now. Let's go back to the last time that you were really, really nervous before a game. Can you bring that into your awareness and think about it and feel it? See if you can feel it in your body. See if you can raise your heart rate. Just try. You guys are awesome. Good for you. Okay, so when you're there, that's your body talking to you. Okay, something's up. Something's off the normal course here. So now, instead of having the thought in your head that I'm scared, I'm nervous, I don't want to screw up, I don't want to make a mistake, I don't want to be embarrassed, you're going to switch your thinking to this. I'm only going to be excited. That's a good thing. I'm only going to be excited about my game. I'm going to choose to think that this is good. My body is on and I'm ready. It's a different way of thinking. And your self-talk before your game and on the bench is very, very important. Okay, so sit in your equipment before you go out on the ice and say to yourself, I'm really excited about this game. This is good. I'm ready. It has a lot to do with your self-confidence. Here's another thing before I get into resilience, because that's really the key. Any of you heard the saying, perfect practice makes perfect? Okay. Understand this. Everything that you need to learn about hockey, you are loading in your practice. You should finish every practice not only physically exhausted, but mentally exhausted. Now, I can't explain the entire thing about that, but the fact is that how hard you work at practice, what you load into your body, will come out at the game. Is the game any place to try new things? No. The game is where you show what you put in practice. And And you said, what does Tiger Woods say? I get out of my own way and I allow my training to take over. That's exactly what that is. You now don't have to think about how well you're doing. You've created a pattern and it's going to come out in your game. So you got to work really hard. And when you know, the reason I'm telling you this is when you know before your game that you have worked really hard in your practices, you know you've eaten well, you know you're properly hydrated, you know you've had enough sleep, and you know you're strong. When you can summon all those ideas before you step out on the ice, now you are self-confident. Now you know you are ready for your game. Now you know you're excited because you got something to show because you put the work in. Can you feel that when I said that? You got something to show, and you're going to show it. But you've got to do the work over here. Because you can't lie to yourself. You can't say, oh yeah, I'm ready for this game, I'm on top of my game, when you really didn't work that hard in practice. Your mind knows, and it's going to play with you. Okay? All right. Resilience, defined as the capacity to prepare for, adapt, and recover from stress, challenge, and adversity. Now that stress, challenge, or adversity is your hockey game. Resilience is having the capacity to do what? Yes?
To deal with stress and what you just said.
Yes. Oh, you rock, baby. Yes, that's exactly it. Resilience is your attitude, is your mindset, it is how you think. And it's going to control how you think during your game. Because you know that skating and handling a puck, and passing and looking around and thinking, that's a lot of stuff to do. You're breathing, blinking, and swallowing at the same time. It's a busy time, right? You want your skill to be as developed as possible so that you can plan. You could be thinking about, how am I going to create this play? Who's open? What am I supposed to be doing here on the ice? Those skills that you've developed are automatic. And the more you develop them, the more effortless they are. You're skating, you're passing, you're puck handling, you're shooting. The more you do those, you create patterns, and you have to do them properly, otherwise you're creating improper patterns. And the less you have to think about them, the better they are. All right? So, your resilience is having the ability to do that. Your resilience is how you react when something is going wrong. You are, we talked about this. Bad call by the ref. You're losing. You just made a mistake personally. That really hurts, I know. Here's the reset. You do something by becoming heart coherent. Now, heart coherent means this. It's a certain state that you bring into your body where it causes all of your systems in your body to function optimally and in sync. So you don't have to think about that. Heart coherence feels good. And number 3, the more you practice the technique that I'm going to teach you, the better you're going to get. So you build a baseline. And as you build a baseline, just like your fitness, just like your wellness, it becomes your internal set point. So, when things are going wrong and you're sitting on the bench, obviously you don't practice these techniques when you're playing because you're busy playing, you're busy thinking, you're busy skating, you're doing all kinds of things. On the bench, here is what you do. Regardless, you can do this every time you're on the bench. Instead of just mindlessly sitting and watching the game, you actually should be doing something to prepare yourself for your next shift. You should be evaluating your last shift and saying, I'm going to do this better, or this is what's going to happen. Here's something else to calm yourself down, prepare yourself for your next shift. It's what I call TBS. Teeth, breathe, see. What do we do often with our teeth when we're nervous, when we're mad, when we're upset?
Grind them.
We clench, right? Okay. First thing you need to do is consciously think about separating your back teeth. Separate your teeth. So keep your mouth closed. You might have your mouth guard still on, and you drop your jaw. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to make a face, but the point is you just very consciously separate your back teeth. Now that is a signal to your parasympathetic nervous system. Your parasympathetic is what calms you down. Those are the mechanisms in your body that go, and it starts with your teeth. Because the minute you have tension in your head, your mind's going, something's up. Something's up. I gotta be nervous. I'm afraid now. Right? So your signal is, all's good, it's all good, don't worry, we got this. Separate your back teeth. All right? While you're doing that, the next step is to breathe. This is the most important thing. How many times have you seen somebody who's been upset and someone has said to them, breathing is another thing that gathers the mechanisms that calm you down in your body. Now, here's how you want to breathe. How many of you have done yoga? Highly recommend yoga as hockey players. Very, very important. Teaches you to become mindful, teaches you about breathing, and it strengthens your body. So what you want to do is you want to breathe in through your mouth while your teeth are separated, and we're going to practice this until I leave you. You're going to breathe deeply into your hips, so you can actually make a belly when you breathe out. So let's practice that, okay? If you want to make a count of 5 as you breathe slowly in, push out your belly, and then 5 out. You can count on your own. Actually, everyone put your hands in your belly, your lower belly. Lower belly, not up here, down here. Okay. Now in for 5, make your hands move. And do that 5 times. Okay, how do you feel now? You probably feel super relaxed, right? No? Yeah, don't do that. Okay. Now here's the other thing I want you to think about while you're breathing. Now all of this is going to seem like, whoa, I got to do all this at once. Yep. But once you start doing it, it's going to become second nature. So your teeth are separated.